So good evening and welcome to the second of the lectures in this series, A New Innocence. It's really a great pleasure to be able to welcome Junya here with us. Before I introduce Ishigami-san, I just want to read a note that I actually received from a number of our students with regards to the recent disaster in Japan. A group of students here at the GST, Japan GST, but together with a number of other student groups here at Harvard, have, in the wake of the recent disaster in Japan, various students' organizations across the Harvard campus have mobilized to collect relief funds for the Japanese Red Cross. And that's why you see that table here. Japan GST, Asia GST, and MDES Club, MDES S Club, are working in collaboration with other Harvard groups for the Japan Initiative, which is sponsored by the Harvard President's Office and the Reischauer Institute to implement both short and long-term activities. Japan GST and Asia GST will have donation tables both at tonight's lecture and at the Sana lecture, which will take place on March 31st. Japan GST and Asia GST will also sponsor this Friday's Beer and Dogs for fundraising and awareness. The MDES Club will have a donation table set up at the Chow House every day for a week, starting this Wednesday from noon to 1:30 p.m. All donations collected will go to the Japanese Red Cross for on-site relief efforts. Please stay tuned for announcements of a variety of activities and events in the months to come. Recovery from a large-scale disaster cannot be accomplished in a few weeks' time, even as their stories start to fade from the news headlines. Please support the Japanese people and all those across the world who are participating in the long process of reconstruction after the devastating earthquake and tsunami. So with that said, I'm really delighted that Ishigami-san is here tonight. We also have support from one of the GST students, Kenzo Nakaguchi, who is on hand. Originally, we thought that this lecture would be translated, but Junya's English in a very short period of time has improved so enormously that we really could have had the lecture at 6:30, to be honest. But since we had made the announcement, then we decided that we will go with 6 o'clock. And in fact, to be honest, I myself only discovered that this was 6 o'clock about 15 minutes ago. So that is that, and I think you will enjoy the lecture. There is a Japanese writer and theorist. His name is Taro Igarashi, and he wrote recently in a catalog that was for an exhibition of Ishigami-san, and he said that in 2009, the Junya Ishigami Design Kanagawa Institute of Technology's workshop, Kite Workshop, which you will see, won the 61st Architectural Institute of Japan Prize, the Architecture Division, and that this is not a newcomer award, that it's Japan's top award in the field of architecture. Accordingly, the selection of an architect so young, without revealing too much, he was born in 1974, is a major event. Of course, there have been other young recipients of the award in the past, such as Fumihiko Maki, a graduate of the GST born in 1928, who won the prize in 1962 with the Toyoda Auditorium at Nagoya University, and that was followed in 1963 by Kiyonori Kikotake, who was born in 1928 with his Izuma Taisha Chonoya, the administration building, and then, of course, Arata Izosaki, who was born in 1931, who received the prize for the Oita Prefectural Library in 1966. These three architects, he says, who are now internationally known, were all in their mid-30s then. It has been over 40 years since any of them received that award. And although more recently, in 1998, Nishizawa-san, who will be here next week, shared the prize with Katsuya Sejima as members of SANA. For Ishigami to have won it solo at such a young age is clearly unusual. And I think that just gives you a little sense of the achievements of this man who, after 4 or 5 years of leaving SANA's office, then was able to really engage in a number of significant projects and to then receive enormous recognition for these projects. He has been at the Venice Biennale for the past 2 occasions and represented did the Japanese pavilion. And this year was in the Arsenale. He, as you know, you probably know, he is very much into the ideas of atmosphere, of a kind of lightness of architecture to the point of suspension. His structure, of course, had collapsed by the time that I went to visit it at the Venice Biennale. And I went back 3 times to see it. They were this amazing group of people who were trying to put the whole thing together. It was such an amazing piece of lightness, of trying to create a sort of a spatial condition with these pieces of wires in the Arsenale. But somehow I think the members of the jury managed to find it all fully installed in a 3-minute slot period that I never got to see, and gave him the major prize of the Venice Biennale. So I think there's an incredible amount of enthusiasm for the amazing quality of the work that Ishigami-san is involved with. And I'm very, very delighted that he is here with us. I also want to take this opportunity very, very briefly to thank the Harvard University Asia Center, and in particular Arthur Kleinman, who has really helped us in supporting this series of lectures here at the GSD. So without any further delay, please welcome Junya Ishigami.
So my name is Junya Ishigami. So I'm based in Tokyo. So thank you very much for inviting this place. So today, I will talk about the 9 projects from when I started my office up to more recently work. So I begin to explain. So this is the first project I will show, is from when I was starting from my office. So this is a large table for some exhibition. So in this project, I was thinking to make a large table as if I was making a small architecture. Not just making furniture, rather I want to make some new space from this table. So this table is as large as architecture and as thin as papercraft. So it is 95 meters long and 2.6 meters wide and 1.1 meters high. It is quite larger than normal table. However, its thickness is 3 millimeters thickness, so thin like a paper. So it is as if a piece of paper is floating on the air. So on this paper thin tabletop, many things are arranged. So this is a picture from the below. So I think a table looks like architecture. So I feel the looks like a column, and the tabletop looks like a roof. I believe a table is a very pure architecture, or very simple architecture, just a column and just a roof. If that is the case, I thought table could be designed like an architecture. So this drawing is the elevation of this table. So so it looks like a single line drawing, but so because of such thin proportions, so everyone can see the tabletop will be bent like this. So then, what would be good if we do design and structure analysis like in architecture? By do like this, so we can know how much it bends. So how much it bends, and so precise shape of bending can be understood. So if know the precise shape of bending, the rest is very simple. So in other words, so we should bend it in opposite direction like this. So beforehand. So if we do this, so when put on the table on the floor, so this table is very flat. Gravity make it be flat. So the table made of the aluminum and its self weight is 700 kilograms, make it be horizontal. So, but this table is extremely thin proportions. It means it does not bend normally. It bends a lot. It bends extremely. So it's bend like this, and it continues to bend like this, and finally it bends 1.5 roll rotations. So this is a drawing shows the table before put on the floor. So tabletop is curved 1.5 rotation, and the leg is a little bit warped. So as a result of the structure analysis of many load conditions, the curvature of bending was calculated. From the start, the table is bent in the opposite direction. When a table of this shape is put on the floor, gravity makes it be flat. So this is a photograph of the bending in the factory. So amount of the curvature is varies by location. The different curvature is each location. So this material is aluminum. So this is a part of the tabletop, which is made of curvature of 1.5 rotation. So and the legs are attached to the like this. So the table becomes flat by itself weight. From the side, it looks like many things are lined up on the thread. So it seems like a table melts into the space. This table does not just like a paper craft. So actually, this table is very soft like a paper. So today, I prepared the movie. So please show the movie. Please watch the movie. So also, made from 700 kilograms aluminum, this table is actually soft as a paper. A small touch and the table sways like a paper on the water. So the table of the structure, soft like a water surface, make a space. So through this project, I want to think about some kind of a new possibility of the architectural space by seeking out the new proportion of the architectural structure. So through my old project, the proportion of the structure is very important. So next project. So this work was exhibited at the Venice Biennale 2008. So Japanese pavilion. So this is the Japanese pavilion. So there is a garden around the Japanese pavilion. So this is the Japanese pavilion. The garden is around here. So in the garden, so we made the 4 delicate greenhouse. So this is the greenhouse. So this is the enlarged plan of the greenhouse. So this is the Japanese pavilion. So the 4 greenhouses are arranged around the existing plants. So within this project, so I want to think about some equivalence of the architecture and the landscape. So delicate columns and the thin grass make the greenhouse. The superfine columns looks like a plant, and the ultra thin grass looks like a soap bubble. So I slightly touch the. So this building also swayed like in the window. So this is the photograph I watched to the inside of the greenhouse. So I want to make the building. I want to make this building and the plants have an equal presence. So the columns are made the same proportion as the plants. So for example, so this plant is the diameter is 1.5 centimeters, and also this column is 1.5 centimeters diameter, is the same scale. So I want to make the equal presence of the plant and the architectural structure. The plant and the greenhouse overlap. The boundary of inside and outside is ambiguous. So actually, so there is some grass borderline is here, but nobody recognizes this line. And the plant inside of the greenhouse and outside of the greenhouse together create a single landscape. So visitors walk between the 4 buildings like walking through the forest. So these greenhouses, the 4 greenhouses overlaps, creating a single landscape. So this photograph this photograph is looking up. So sunlight is filtering through the trees, mixes with the building. So plants grow on the grass surface. So after a sun shower, so water drop on the grass surface are very pretty. So the landscape that was satisfied in the buildings has become a single scenery and a single landscape and a single atmosphere. So in this project, I want to seek out a new relationship between the architecture and landscape to make a new environment. So architecture becomes the landscape, and the landscape becomes the architecture. 2 different types of the environment mixed together. One is the inside of the greenhouse. So this is the artificial environment. So another one is the outside of the greenhouse. This is the existing environment, existing greenhouse, a green garden. So this different 2 types of the environment mixed together and make the new environment. So this is the next project. So this project is to make a park around the lake. So this photograph shows a man-made lake. So this is a man-made lake. so created by a dam for the industrial use. So here is the dam. So depending on how much water nearby factories use, the water in the lake increase or decrease during the year. The water level can change by 8 meters. So also, the surrounding mountains are beautiful, but this lake looks very dirty and tired because of this artificial rapid change water. So we want to planning to make the lake beautiful and create a park around it. So this is a drawing of the lake, which is made over new way. So I make the new form of the lake by changing the topography of the bottom of the lake and the lake front little by little. So deep dark blue shows is dark blue shows the deep place, and light blue shows show a shallow place. So this drawing shows the change of the lake shape, which change by the water level. So this shows the shape of the lake when the water level is 16.5 meters. So this drawing shows the shape of the lake when it at the 9 meters. So these are between. So when the water level is high, so many small islands appear. So as the water level holds a little, part of the topography appear, crossing to the opposite shore, like this. So as the water level holds a little more, a very complicated shoreline began to appear. In some place, so a very gently curved shoreline appears. In place, a road across to an island appear. So in other place, a very long and narrow road appear in the middle of the lake. So and when the water level holds a lot, rather than a lake, it becomes a group of the large ponds. So in this state, the people can walk around between the lake and the park mix together. So in this project, I want to merge the artificial rapid change of the man-made lake into the gentle change of the natural environment, as if the surrounding mountains are changing in the every season beautifully, moment to moment. So these lakes also will change as scenery every moment. So I want to mix the artificial environment and the natural environment in this project. So next project. So this project is to renovate the existing 22-story buildings along with the several architects. So I was in charge of the one home of 500 square meters, like Soho. It is mixed the residential and the office. So existing interior is like this. So we began to decide what part of the 22-story building to make residential. So finally, we chose a very small area in this building, the southeast area, here, very small area. So this is a section of the existing building. So the area we chose is very small in the plan. However, we propose that connecting this small area from one first floor to the 22nd floor as a one room, like this. So this is a section. So it is connected continuously from a first floor to the second floor to make the single home. to make a single home. So the blue on this building is a one room. This is one room. This is a 500 square meters house in the existing building. So I thought this existing building was a part of the environment for the planned house. So we regard this existing big building as the site of the new house. So this is a study of how to make a hall in the existing building. So typically, the high-rise architecture is just repeated the standard floor. So it is rare. Every floor are related. So this is a study of how to create a vertical relationship within the existing building. So this is a view from the top floor. You can see the super high-rise district. So this is the final plan for each floor. The red part is the opening and the stairs. The various form of the stairs, various shape of openings are in sequence. This vertical continuity makes a continuous single space for a single house from the first floor to the 22nd floor. So this is a model of our part of the house. So this is a skyscraper planned in the existing high-rise building. So this space is passing from the first floor to the 22nd floor is a single house for the single family, not apartment. So this is an enlarged model photograph of a part. So you can see each floor, the shape and location of the opening and the form of the stair are different. So this difference creates a different relationship between each floor. So based on this, so the way of life becomes related. So this height of the vertical space of this house is about 70 meters. So by Japanese law, so any hill over 16 meters defined as a mountain. So that means this house has a scale same as the mountain. So inside this house. So in everyday use, to go to the distant floor, the existing elevator in this existing big building is used. But sometimes, so like a mountain climbing, it might take a day to go up and come back viewing the scenery through the window. So the exterior scale, like a mountain, creates an interior space for single house. I think it is suggesting that a new architectural scale will appear in this house. In this way, I hope for the birth of a new kind of lifestyle it appear. So next project. So this project is some workshop designed for the university students. It's called Kite Workshop. So this university is a suburb of Tokyo. So this is a plan of the entire university. So this is the university site. So this site, the site of this project is almost in the middle of the university here. So the site is between the playground and the University Plaza. So this is a photograph of the roof. The building is a one-story building, and so largeness is 45 meters by 40 meters, 45 meter, and the area is around 2,000 square meters. So all four facades are all transparent glass. So in this building, there is no wall. So all vertical and horizontal forces are supported by slender and thin columns. So this is a plan. So this plan is a slightly distorted square shape. So like this. So the point you can see are columns. So these are columns. So the columns looks like a random. So based on the placement of the column, different spaces are created. So in this project, I want to seek out the ambiguous space. So the people will feel the full space of the different 2,000 square meters in each place. So some people feel for example, this place. So these people feel this 2,000 square meters, but these people different type of 2,000 square meters. Yeah. So space is the same, but the feeling is different from each place. So this is enlarged part of the plan. So in this plan, so there are 305 columns. So all columns have the different proportions, like this, and different orientations, like this. So the number of like this is a column number. So there is one through the 305. One through the 305. So for each column, a detailed drawing was made. So this is the detailed drawing of the 305 columns. So this photo is a nearby entrance area. So from here, you can see the edge of many columns like this. So the edge of columns are thin and slender. So from here, you can see very far away into open. So from this place, you can see the face of many columns like this. So the many faces of the columns gives the impression of the closed space. So in this place, so there are many ways like animal trails, like this. So this place is more open with no column. So here is no column area. So this area is also no column. So but giving a more close impression a little. So because of the far off columns shows the facing. So this is an area where the columns are crowded. So this space feels narrow and cozy. So many spaces overlap to make one space. So this is a plan of the furniture. So the arrangement of the columns looks random, but it is strictly determined. So for example, so this is a road for the cars. So this is the office area. So this is the no columns area for workshop. So this is the entrance. So this is another workshop. This is a printing space or something. So various types of space are planned. So the boundary between these spaces are fuzzy ambiguously. So with this ambiguity, so we are trying to create a new flexibility of architecture. So this is the enlarged plan. So columns and furniture are arranged in different different orientation. In this building, so there is no standard orientation. Each orientation are defined by each relationship. So the lights are like a sunlight, so filtering through the trees. So it is an atmosphere like being in the woods. The various area and various space spread through this architecture like a landscape. So we make this building rather than make a space by composition, but this space is made like a landscape. So this photo is from the outside of this architecture. So inside of this building looks like another outside space. So we research how people move around in this building by taking a picture. So today, I have a picture. So we edited pictures which took by 4 months. So and put it together as one movie. So please watch. So this movie is took by the security camera. So each people through the same way. So this column is like a wall. So nobody through this column. But sometimes through this wall. So this column is so everybody touch. So in this building, furniture place is not decided. So every time changes. So they make a barricade align these columns. So they make some private area. So I think that this is the entrance for them. So they made some handmade airplane. So this is a road. So everybody through this. So everybody through the same way. So even if the no wall. So but same group. So this time is nobody the same. Next project. So this project is a multi-purpose cafeteria for the same university at the Kite Workshop. So the request program was a school cafeteria, a party hall, napping room, lounge, rainy weather practice ground, half outside plaza, and barbecue space. So each program with a mixed inside and outside factors. So I'm thinking of making this program as one single architecture. So the white area is the site of this project. So this building is planning on the entire site of this site, like this, so as large as possible. So this is the roof plan. So the long side is 120 meters. Short side is 80 meters. So it is a very large plan. But the this building is just one room. So entire roof will be made of the 8 millimeter thickness steel plates, very thin. So this roof is made of the steel plate, 8 millimeters. So some parts of this roof will be opaque, becoming an extremely thin artificial ground. So in these parts, so flower and plant will be planted. The area below will be practice ground and the meeting area. In other place, the steel plate is cut out, so it becomes a roof which has square opening arrow in light. So those parts are covered in ivy plant to become like a giant pergola. So below this is a barbecue space and the outdoor meeting area. So in other parts, so glass partition create interior like this. So this is for cafeteria, napping space, and the party areas. The result, a giant roof will become like a grassland. So the interior space is 5%, and so the same outside area is 95% in this building. So this is a cross section. So there is no column, even though this roof span is approximately 120 meters. This is just one big room, no columns. So this steel wall is not thick, but a very usual thickness. So these walls are cambered before, like this. So these walls support the 8 millimeter thickness steel plate, so which is make up the entire roof like this, and the wall is finally vertical like a table. So even though it is one giant room, but the average ceiling height is around 2.3 meters, very low. So this space is the same ceiling height as a usual private house. So it's kind of the intimate space, but at the same time, so its intimate space extends like a giant grassland with a scenery. So it is a this space is a ultra thin one room. So this space is a kind of the mega structure, but so intimate space is created through a very delicate giant roof. So in this project, I'm thinking to create a new scenery as architectural space. So now, so let's think about the space of the Earth where we live. So this photograph is this is a photograph from the outside of the Earth. So you can see the so many clouds on the ground. So we are living in the ultra thin space between clouds and the land. So this ultra thin space we call the scenery. So I'm thinking of making architecture at these proportions. So because of the, I want to make the some scenery, so by making the architecture as an architecture. So this is a model photograph. So the entire roof is like a grassland. So this is a photograph of the model from the side. So this proportion is extremely thin. So the roof is like a meadow, so that extends forever. So the site for this building is one part of the university. So it is located where the ground is lower than the rest of the campus. It means that this big roof is the first thing that meets the sea. So this is a photograph looking into the inside of this building. So no column. So the floor is the earth where plants can be grown. So this floor becomes some kind of the landscape. So this is the ultra-thin space between a big roof, like a giant pergola, and the floor, like a garden. The floor and the ceiling have a subtle curvature, like this. So far, in the distance, looks like a horizon. So its ceiling like a sky, and the floor like a earth. So students are relaxing inside as if having a picnic. So by making this building, I think we will make a new scenery in the university, new scenery of the architecture, new scenery as architecture. So in other words, so rather than students go to the cafeteria, but the student will come to this building as if they traveling to meadow. So through this project, I want to make some scenery as architecture and as architectural space. So this building will be completed on the September of next year. So next project. So this project was exhibited at the Venice Biennale 2010 last year. So through this project, I want to think about the transparency of the architecture. So that is because so architecture space is fundamentally transparent. So therefore, I was thinking that the quest of transparency is a fundamental part of the architecture. So typically, transparency in the architecture is created by the materials. But in this project, I was thinking not about the transparency of materials. So I want to think about the transparency of the architecture structure itself. So the fall was the Arsenal Gallery in Venice. So this is a plan of the hall. So this gallery used to be a shipbuilding yard for the military. So, but it's now used as gallery. So brick colonnade continues through this big large space. So it is very beautiful. So we are given space. We are given the space in the middle of this building here. So largeness is a 20 meter by 20 meter. So there, we made a model of the colonnade like this building. So this is a photograph of the space we are given. So here, we made a model of colonnade. So volume is like this. So wide is 4 meters wide and 30 meters deep and 4 meters tall. So this model is as large as small architecture, but a model. So this is a drawing of the models. So So above one is the beam layout plan. This is the beam layout plan. This is the beam. So below one is the elevation. So this is the beam. This is the column. So and so the wires are attached to the each columns like this to prevent the buckling. So this is the part detailed drawing of this model. So diameter of this beam is 1 millimeters, and the column diameter of this column is 0.9 millimeters. So the diameter of this wire is 0.02 millimeters. So while thinking about this project, so we referenced the scale of familiar elements from the natural world. So for example, so the diameter of the raindrop is about 1 millimeter. And the diameter of the vapor droplet in the cloud around also so 0.02 millimeters. So in other words, columns and the beam is the same scale of the raindrop, and the wires are same scale of the cloud vapor droplets. So they are used to make this model. So the scale of this model is about the same scale as the small architecture, but the scale of the components of these models are about the same scale about the same scale as the basic component in the nature. So this is the photograph of the structure experiments. So I think that you can hardly see it, but some columns in the here. So this is a photograph from the little closer, but I think that it now also hard to see. So I think somebody may be able to see thin line here. So this is a very close-up photograph. So you can see the black column is here, and you can see also the white wire is here. So the part of this model is not ready-made. So we designed the material and manufactured it. So the columns are made of the carbon fiber sheets. So by winding carbon fiber by hand, so thin pipe-shaped columns are made. So like this. And also we made the single fiber wires which were unwound from the ready-made wires. So the various parts are precisely fitted together. So this is a photograph of it finished. So we have made the model which was configured by the white columns and white beams and the white wires. So but you can hardly see the white wire, and the columns and beams are hardly visible from the far away. So actually there is a column like here. So but like a mist, so the entire model melt into the space. So this is a photograph from the different angles. So you can recognize the outline of the model subtly. But far off, it becomes hazy like a mist. So this also, actually, there is columns. So this is a close-up photograph. So in this project, so we are thinking about architecture that structure and space are equal. So by making the architecture structure as small as a drop drops of the air, the architectural structure itself melts into the space. So this project was an experiment to test the limit of the architectural construction. So I want to see the how is the limit of the architectural construction. So next project. So this project is a plan for the store of the clothing designer called Yoji Yamamoto. This project is location is the meatpacking district in New York. So this project is to renovate the one-story building. So in the meatpacking district. So this is the IR photograph. The red part is where the building is. It is near from the Hudson River. So this is a photograph of the building from above. The building is a triangular and like a slice of cake. So the client was not renting the whole building. So the client was renting just a space like this, this point end of the triangle. So in this project, so I was thinking of making a new architecture through an old building. So I thought about cutting off just the part with the store, and making a small independent architecture in New York. So like cutting a slice of cake, I cut a building. Like this. So this is an aerial photograph, so taken after the existing building was cut. So this plan is the existing building. So planning area is here. So red line is the cutting line. So by cutting existing building, the shop will be an independent building. And this is the shop. And the storage is left in the existing building. This is the storage. So this left in the existing building. So this is a photograph from above the cutting building. So this is a photograph of existing building before the cut. So this street was a quiet street where car that did not pass. So I thought of keeping this existing facade as possible. So this is a photograph after the cut. So we cut building minimum. So we cut like just here. So this side is the opposite side. So this street is a very busy street with many cars and many people. So I thought it would be most effective to make it as dynamic as possible. So this is a photograph after the cut. So we cut existing building by width same as existing sidewalk. This width is the same. So this picture is the tip of this building before the cut. So there were a lot of people on the right street. So but fewer people on the left street. So we made a cut to direct people towards the left side like this. So this is the photograph after the cut. So it is home to direct people towards the left side, like this. So this is a study model. So since it was a brick building, I reused the existing brick and made a new wall. So like this. So like playing with block, I changed the location of the bricks. So this is the photograph during the construction. So the brick that has been removed is placed nearby, like this. So this new building is made in the same way, which is the old existing building is destroyed. So I made a freestanding building in New York, so you can go around it, and you can see inside anywhere. So in this project, so I wanted to make a new architecture that was old and new. So I think you can recognize this building is new or old. So people are directed from the public street to the private street. So this picture is a private street. So this is entrance to the shop entrance. So this is the entrance to the warehouse. So from this angle, so this building is so thin. So I think that it is hard to believe it is made of brick. So depending on the point of view, so the impression of this volume so completely changes. So from the tip of this building, so this location, this building looks small. So from this location, the slice of this building, from this location, this building looks very large. So this is the interior photograph. So in this project, I did not design most of the interior. So I want to try to make the interior space naturally by making the surrounding environment. So with this project, I believe I made the equal the old and the new of the building. So again, so I was thinking of making equal the existing environment and the existing. So I want to make the equal space, existing environment, and the created environment. So this is the last project. So this project is an exhibition project. So this exhibition is a group show at the Art Museum of Tokyo in 2007. So the space I was given was large with our space is large, so with a ceiling height of 20 meters. So our space is the largest space in this museum. So I want to make something like a scenery, so rather than just put on the object in this space. So this is a sketch for the exhibition. So in the big square space, so I thought of the floating a giant metal square mass. So it is a square balloon made of the hard metal. So it's about as large as 5-story building. So its weight is 1 ton. So by filling the mass with helium gas, so it floats around the space like a balloon. So this is a heavy and hard body, so without connected to anything, floats in the space. So I was thinking of making a very abstract cloud. So this is a photograph of the site. So because this volume is about as large as a 5-story building. So it was constructed like architecture. A crane came into the museum to assemble it. So it was constructed by jacking it up little by little. So aluminum truss and the panels. So this is a aluminum panel, and this is a panel. This is a truss. So make up one structure. So the total structure weight is around 1 ton. So this space is fulfilled is enough helium to the weight to zero the weight. So this is a cross section. So this grid is made of aluminum truss. So this is the aluminum truss. So this is the aluminum panels. So for this project, I prepared some movie. So for this project, so I show the movie. So this is a bigness. So this is a big mass. So which is a 1 ton around a 5-story building is floating slowly around in the atrium. So the square metal body is filled with the helium gas. So the buoyancy cancels the self weight, but the weight is 1 ton. So no strings attached. So no string, nowhere attached. So sometimes bumping this volume into the floor. So I did not necessarily want to make this square object. So I want to make the space between this big object and the existing wall. So the space can sometimes be narrow and wide, tall, low, triangular, or square. So hour by hour, like the sky changing, the space of this, the shape of this space also changes. So as if clouds close the mountain, so this object also close to the another space. So through all project, I want to make the new environment. So by making the architecture, so this is my purpose or the the finish. Thank you.
So much. That was great. I hope you have some questions for Junya. I think it's so clear that there's this amazing. I was asking Kenzo what the word wonder is in Japanese. That there is this idea of things that are really to do with an incredible sense of wonder in terms of how things are done from the table to finally this piece and your incredible interest in this idea of levitation, of things that are working with the atmosphere, and now with this one, the way that you were showing the light on the wall and actually bringing the quality of the sky on the wall of the building. on the inside. I think it's very interesting that there's so little work that's really done on the discussion, around the discussion of the inside of buildings, and to see so much of this this research about landscape and the interior, about the inside, about the furniture that's an architecture. I think that this is really wonderful stuff, but hopefully you will have more specific and concrete questions, please. So there's one there, and then one hand also in the corner.
Hi, thank you for the lecture. I really enjoyed it. I understood that the orientation of the columns in Kite Workshop is determined by the program and the usage of the people, but you didn't really mention about the skylight, which is very straight. They are very straight. And could you explain a little more about this, the determination?
Straight shape?
Yeah, or the orientation. I mean, the distances between.
So it's difficult to explain. So we study many type of the skylight. So, but if so make the so many skylight, so I feel that this skylight make the space. So I want to make the space just by the columns. So I want to make the some universal top light. So I want to make that just a stripe.
Hello? Okay. I noticed in every single one of your projects, you have this this incredible control of things that are very precise, like structure and scale, but you use them to create things that have a great deal of flux and liquid quality to them, and that have an atmosphere of a great deal of imprecision or impreciseness. I'm wondering, can you maybe talk more about your feelings about precision and imprecision, which seem to be two things that are they're contrasts from one another, but you bring them together.
Sorry, just a moment. Understand. So I want to mix the artificial space and the natural space. So artificial space is always abstract. So natural space, but we think the abstract. But so I think the natural space is also my feeling is a very abstract. For example, the sky. For example, the sea. So this is a very abstract. So this abstraction will be mixed. So I want to make some mixture of the nature and the artificial things. So this is my opinion.
Well, my question is not dissimilar from the previous one, but it relates to the use of traditional architecture, Japanese architecture, such as the columns and the soji, which is transparent space, and the tatamis, which are a regular column space, and yet at the same time you're like shifting away the columns so that they don't relate to regular patterns. And in this space, you're floating something inside a regular space. So I wonder if you'd like to comment on your idea of just changing space so that it's not typical.
So its question is so how to change or the
Well, traditional Japanese space is very strict and regular, but it also has transparency.
but I think that typical Japanese space is also not rigid, but I think the more soft. So in Japanese space is I think the structure and the furniture is equal. So because traditional Japanese house has some wall made by the paper. So that is originally the furniture. So that is now. So that is used by the wall. So I think the Japanese architecture is everything is equal. So I want to make some equalness of the architecture. So that is so if that is the case, so I can make some new environment of the artificial things and the nature things is mixed.
I was told that in Japanese, and maybe Kenzo and other Japanese colleagues and students can, but in Japanese there's a word called fuke. And this word is something between scenery, atmosphere, and landscape. And apparently we don't have an English version of the word fuke, right?
Yeah.
Fuke. Yeah. So a lot of these ideas of the inside are about the scenes of the interior and the atmospheres of the interior. But maybe somebody who's a Japanese scholar here in the audience can.
So my feeling and the atmosphere and the landscape and the scenery and the structure and the furniture is equal. So I want to make some equal space.
Any other? We have the translator. You can go and ask the question.
Hello? Hi. Can you talk a little bit about your time at school or maybe other types of art that you've kind of delved into? Because I know you have a very illustrative quality in your work and it's really beautiful, and I don't know if that came from architectural training or what other aspects kind of fed into this kind of fantastic quality to your work. Maybe just talk about school.
So it's difficult to explain. So always trying to make the new way to make the drawing or the models or something. So originally I don't know. So so where I trying to training. I don't know.
So you want to ask the question?
So to mention, actually one project that you did not show is a kind of traditional Japanese project house of. He actually did have a project with a reconfiguration of traditional Japanese wooden construction that he didn't show, but I think it would have responded to the previous question. But along those lines, do you feel some more influence from traditional architecture, as in gardens, in a sort of distance between relationship between nature and man-made? Is that a theme that you traditional?
So, yeah. I think so. Our age or our period is we feel modern feeling and the traditional feeling is I think so these two things is very important. The same, I think the same. So I want to trying to equal to the traditional thing and the modern things. So I want to try to mix everything. So even if the nature and the artificial and the tradition and the modernism things and the furniture and the architecture, space and the structure. I want to make the mixed things. So I try to think about the equivalence of the new architecture. So this is the answer.
Hello. You have been working several years with Sejima-san and Nishizawa-san. I would like to ask, when you look at your own work, how much of that background do you see in your own work? Or how much of it do you think it's in the past, and how much is it present in what you do now?
In the Sanad office? No?
In the work you've done since you made your own office.
So difficult. I always impression from the everything. So of course I influence from the Sana, and always at the same time. So I influence from the my environment. So which was I lived in when I was small children. So I don't know. So where is my origin? I'm in every project I'm thinking from the condition of each project. So not just image. So I want to think about the each project the more flat. So even if I make some architecture, but this architecture use everybody. So I want to make some flatness of the space. So I think that I don't know how to say. So my influence is not so important. So to make the architecture. So I don't know how to explain.
Thank you very much.